for citizens around the world today. And the last one relates to the RTE documentary about the hooded men and about the court case taken by Jack Lynch, Taoiseach at the time, to Europe, where they pursued the British government for torture of those citizens of Ireland, disputed or otherwise. And Ireland won the initial court case, and yet on appeal, the judgment that those hooded men were tortured was overturned, saying that the torture tactics employed while using stress, while the men were hooded, while they were subject to white noise, while they were interrogated for hours on end without break, that while it was enhanced interrogation techniques, it was not torture, because the evidence provided by the British side in relation to the effects on the men in question was such that it could not be construed as torture. What, of course, was uncovered by the RTE documentary was that, in fact, the effect was traumatic, that lives were shortened, suicides occurred, and those men were never the same after being detained and tortured by the British government. My question, and this is the ultimate question on this, is in light of this new evidence, in light of the fact that the Irish government are now entitled to revisit that case, will they do so? And I say that not because of the historic nature of the offences that occurred against these citizens, but in light of the fact that it is now used by states around the world, democracies around the world. That ruling by that European court is now being used to say, well, when Ireland took this case, those forms of interrogation are legitimate, because the European court has said it did not have an adverse effect on the people who were subject to it. But we now know, because of RTE's excellent report, that in fact it had a hugely traumatic, debilitating, life-changing effect, and that by any measure it was torture. And it is beholden on the Irish government now, in light of this new evidence, that we must set the record straight, so that no democracy can use that European court ruling, which is false because of the evidence that was withheld from it by the British government at the time. So I'd ask, not because of the historic nature of a lot of the stuff I've talked about, but for that particular issue, it is very important that the record is set straight. Thank you.
The House will be aware, as the Senator has raised, of the RTE primetime special programme on the hooded men case, which alleged that the British government may have misled the European Court of Human Rights in the case taken by Ireland against the UK on the hooded men and other matters. In that case, the European Court of Human Rights considered an earlier report by the European Commission on Human Rights that the in-depth interrogation methods used by the British authorities in Northern Ireland amounted to torture. The court found that while the interrogation methods were, quote and unquote, inhuman and degrading, they did not amount to torture. The Department of Foreign Affairs and Trade has now been in contact with RTE and also with the Pat Finucane Centre, on whose work much of the programme was based, and is currently reviewing records in order to fully assess the claims made by the primetime programme.